All right, my secondary math 1 class. I feel like it's been forever since we've done some notes. So today we are actually going to start a new unit. We're going to be talking about systems of equations, okay? So first of all, when we hear the words systems of equations, what does that mean? Okay, so I want you guys to underline systems, and then I want you to just put this little note that means more than one. Okay, so when we're going to be graphing systems of equations, that means we're just going to be graphing more than one equation. Okay? Awesome. So another note I want us to make on our paper before we get going is I want to remind you guys, we've worked with this before, but I want to remind you what slope-intercept form looks like, because all of the graphs or all the equations that we are going to graph are in slope-intercept form. Okay, and slope-intercept form is always written as y equals m times x plus b. Okay, so when we have these letters, a whole bunch of letters, we know that x and y are always going to stay x and y. You're always going to see an x and a y in these equations. But the m, or whatever's in front of our x, is our slope. You guys know that. And then our b is our y-intercept. Okay, so that was just a quick little reminder. So on numbers 1 and 2, even though we're going to practice graphing systems of equations, first let's just practice graphing one equation at a time. Okay, so in order to graph, I want us to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? So, looking at number 1, this equation for number 1, what is my slope? What is right in front of the x? 1 over 2. Okay, remember, slope is rise over run. Okay, well, what is my y-intercept? If 1/2 is my slope, what is my y-intercept? My y-intercept is 3. Okay, so now I'm going to use my slope and my y-intercept to graph this equation. Okay, so we always start with our y-intercept. Okay, in fact, let's put that on our paper. We start with our y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept means the point that intercepts the y-axis. The y-axis is the one going up and down. Okay, so if our y-intercept is 3, that means I'm going to put my point at positive 3 on my y-axis. That is my y-intercept. Okay, well now I'm going to use my slope or my rise over run to graph, to count to my next point. Okay, so my rise is 1. So from this point, I'm going to go up 1. Okay, up 1, don't put your point yet because we still need to run 2. 1, 2. Now I can put my point. Okay, and that is my line. Okay, connect it with a straight line, put arrows at the end because this line goes on forever, and we are done. Okay, if you can remember, we did this a while back, is graphing just linear equations. Okay, number 2. So let's start it the exact same way. Let's identify our slope and our y-intercept for number 2. Okay, so my slope is always right in front of my x, so my slope is negative 1 over 4. Okay, and then I know that my y-intercept is the number on the end, so it is positive 4. Okay, well, which one do we start with? We always start with our y-intercept. So my point that intercepts the y-axis, or the number on the y-axis, is positive 4. So I'm going to put my first point at positive 4. Okay, and now I'm going to use my slope to count to my next point. So this slope is negative 1 over 4. So instead of going up 1, we're actually going to go down 1. Okay, down 1 and run 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And there is my second point. Connect it with a straight line, put arrows on the end because it goes on forever. All right. Okay, so those on 1 and 2, we were just graphing one equation. Okay, well, let's go ahead and look at number 3. So now it's saying to solve each system by graphing. Oh my gosh, how are we gonna solve it by graphing? Okay, well first, let's just focus on graphing each of these lines. Okay, so we'll go ahead, call this the pink line. Okay, so the first one is gonna be our pink line. Okay, so same thing. My slope and y-intercept for my pink line. My slope is in front of my x, so 1/2. And my y-intercept is 4. So let's go ahead and just graph our pink line first. Okay, so we're going to start with our y-intercept, so +4. First point at +4. Then my slope is up 1 and over 2, rise over run. Up 1, run 2. Okay, now here's the thing with systems of equations. We might want to put more than one point on our graph because we want to see where these two lines intercept, where they cross. So instead of going up 1 and over 2 off my graph, I'm actually from my first point, I'm going to go down 1 and backwards 2 because that still is creating that straight line. Okay, so we can do it again. Down 1, backwards 2. Okay, so there is my pink line. Pink line is graphed. So our whole point is to see where these two lines are going to cross. Okay, so now I have my green line. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's identify our slope and our y-intercept. Okay, so for my green line, my slope is -3/4. -3/4. And my y-intercept is -1. Okay, so if we need to start with our y-axis, find -1 on your y-axis. Put your first point. Okay, and now, using my slope, I'm going to count to my next point. Okay, so it's negative, so let's go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, can you see a point where they cross yet? No, but like I said, we can go backwards. We can go the other way. Okay, so instead of going down 3 and over 4, let's go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and backwards 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is our green line. Whoops, I didn't draw it too straight. There we go. A little better. And there's our green line. Okay, so the answer. What is the answer to this? Or the solution? Answer or solution is the coordinate point where they intersect. Okay, what point is this guy right here where the pink and green line intersects? So that's going to be my x, -4, because the x always comes first, up to +2. Okay, so our answer is -4 and +2. This is what we're looking for on your assignment, the answer or solution. Okay, we solved it by graphing. Okay, so let's look at number 4. Let's do it again, same thing. So first I have my pink line. Okay, so let's do our slope and y-intercept for our pink line. Okay, so my slope is in front of my x, so that's going to be -5/4. And my y-intercept is at +2. So let's go ahead and graph that. Okay, so we start with our y-intercept. So where is +2 on our y-axis? It's going to be right here. So put your first point at +2. Okay, now we're going to use our slope to count to our next point. So it's -5/4, so we're going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, well, let's see if we can put another one on the graph. So now let's go up 5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, it won't work. We would go off the graph. Okay, so just go ahead and connect those 2 points for our pink line. Okay, now let's do our green line. So this one's kind of weird. Okay, so what is our slope and our y-intercept? Okay, if you guys remember, where is my x? Where's my x in this green one? It disappeared, or in other words, it was multiplied by 0. So my slope is 0. Okay, and my y-intercept is the number by itself, so -3. Okay, well, what type of line, was it a horizontal going up and down, or was it vertical going up and down, or a horizontal going left and right? Okay, think if you're going snowboarding and you're going 0 miles per hour, it's gonna be really flat. Okay, so that's what our green line looks like. It is a flat line at -3. Okay, well, what it then is our answer? I'm struggling talking today, guys. What's our answer or our solution? Where do they cross? Okay, this coordinate point right here, which lines up with 4 and -3. Remember, we always write our x value first, so +4, -3. And that is our answer. Where they intersect. Okay, we got a couple more. Okay, I know we usually don't have more than 1 page of notes, but it's just because they're graphs and they take up a little bit of space. Okay, so let's do number 5. Okay, so we got our pink line. So let's do our slope and y-intercept. Okay, so my slope is -1/4 because it's right in front of my x, and my y-intercept is -3. Okay, so my starting point is at -3 on my y-axis, which is right here. And now my slope is down 1 and over 4 for -1/4. Down 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so maybe let's try and go backwards. Okay, so from my first point, let's go up 1 and backwards 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, just to give us a few more options to see where they might intersect, where they might cross. Okay, so that is my pink line. Now let's graph our green line. We got slope and we have y-intercept. Okay, so my slope is -5/4. And my y-intercept is +1. Okay, so starting with my y-intercept, so my point 1 on my y-axis right there. And my slope of -5/4. So I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. We don't have, whoa, I'm struggling with my green lines today. I'm not keeping them straight. Okay, so we don't have to graph any more points because we found where they intersect, where they cross. Okay, so what is this coordinate point? Look at your x value first. So it lines up with 4 on my x-axis and -4 on my y-axis. So my answer is 4, -4 in parentheses. And there we go. Okay, let's do number 6. Because this one's going to be a little bit weird. So we got our pink equation first, slope, y-intercept. My slope is in front of my x, so it is 1/2. And my y-intercept is -2. Okay, so I'm going to start with -2 on my y-axis. And I'm going to go up 1/2. Up 1/2. Maybe go the other way. Down 1, back 2. Down 1, back 2. And there we go. Okay, so there's our pink line. Now let's do our green line. Okay, so we have our slope and our y-intercept. Okay, so my slope again is 1/2, and my y-axis is -1. Okay, so I'm going to start with my y-axis, which is at -1, y-intercept, I mean. And I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, maybe down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2, and that's all the points I can put on my graph. But where did they intersect? Where do they cross? Okay, they don't cross anywhere. So our answer is no solution because they never cross. Okay, whenever we have the same slopes, okay, same slope, 1/2 and 1/2, it equals no solution. Because they are parallel lines. They will never cross. They're going to keep going on forever and not cross. Okay, let's do our last two. Okay, so number 7. Let's start with our pink line, our top line. Okay, so we'll do our slope and y-intercept. Okay, so my slope for this one is 2, or if we wanted to write it as rise over run, 2 over 1. And our y-intercept is at -2. Okay, so we're going to start with our y-intercept, so find -2 on your y-axis. And now we're going to go up 2 and over 1. So 1, 2, over 1, 1, 2, over 1, 1, 2, over 1. Maybe let's go back, down 2, and back 1. Okay, there is my pink line. Okay, let's go ahead and graph our green line. So let's figure out our slope and our y-intercept of our green line. So slope in front of my x is 2 over 3. And my y-intercept is +2. Okay, so I'm going to find +2 on my y-axis, right there. And I'm going to go up 2 and over 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, yay, I don't need to graph anymore because I found where they intersect, where they cross. Okay, now I just need to figure out what this coordinate point is. So it lines up with 3 on my x-axis and 4 on my y-axis. So the answer to number 7 is 3, 4 in parentheses. Perfect. Okay, last example. So let's start with our first equation. Top, let's do our pink one first. Slope and y-intercept. Okay, my slope right in front of my x is 2 again. Or if you want to write it as a fraction, 2 over 1 to help you with rise over run. And then my y-intercept is +3. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that. So +3 on my y-axis is right here. Okay, and I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2, and over 1. Okay, might want to put a few more, so let's go down 2, 1, 2, over 1, 1, 2, over 1, 1, 2, over 1. 1, 2, over 1. And it's still that straight line. It's just giving us options of where they might cross. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph our green line. Slope and y-intercept. Our slope is right in front of our x, so -3 over 2. And our y-axis is, or y-intercept is at -4. Okay, so -4 on my y-axis is right here. And I'm going to go down 3. Uh-oh. But what if I can't go down 3? Okay, remember, you can go backwards. Let's go up 3. 1, 2, 3. And backwards 2. 1, 2. Okay, because my line is still going down because of the negative slope, down and to the right. Okay, but we found where they intersected, where they crossed. So let's figure out this coordinate point. Lines up with -2 on our x-axis and -1 on our y-axis. So our answer is -2, comma, -1. And there we go. You guys have an assignment that goes with this.